Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Minutes of the commission meeting conducted on May 22nd, 2023 have been provided to the members in advance. At this time, I'd like to ask the members if there are any edits, corrections, or amendments. Hearing none, the secretary please note that the record, let the record reflect the minutes were accepted. And you call upon our executive director to deliver his executive director report.
Thank you, Chairman. The final 2023 Problem Gambling Awareness event was conducted last week, at Turning Stone Resort Casino in Verona, which was the first ever conducted on Indian territory. Started 10 years ago, the Commission, the Office of Addiction Supports and Services, and the New York Council on Problem Gambling, who collectively constitute the Responsible Play Partnership, commenced undertaking regional events to drive awareness of problem gambling help availability. When we started, we worked to coincide events with the National Problem Gambling Awareness Month, but have since expanded our events to ensure that proper attention is given to problem gambling during months other than just Problem Gambling Awareness Month. This year, events were conducted in Manhattan, Saratoga Casino Hotel, Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, Jake's 58 Casino Hotel, Resorts World Hudson Valley, and at Turning Stone Casino Resort. I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of the Commission's Lee Park, Brad Mayoni, and Carolyn Haitman, and the New York Council on Problem Gambling's Michelle Kennedy for all the efforts that are necessary in order to get these events scheduled. The Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority announced members of an advisory committee which has been convened to oversee a 3-year study on the use of furosemide on horses during the 48-hour period before the start of a covered horse race, including the effect on equine health and the integrity of competition. Among the 11 members nationwide who were appointed included our own equine medical director, Scott Palmer, who was a former president of the American Association of Equine Practitioners and the American Board of Veterinary Practitioners. Dr. Palmer is currently a member of the RMTC Scientific Advisory Committee, the Horse Racing Test Laboratory Committee, the Association of Racing Commissioners International's Drug Testing Standards Committee, and ARCI's Equine Welfare and Veterinarians Committee. The establishment of this advisory committee for the study of furosemide administration and the requirements of the study are specifically mandated and set forth in the Federal Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act. The advisory committee will oversee the process of issuing a request for proposal to conduct the research, reviewing the grant applications from academic researchers, and allocating grant funding for the study. When the independent scientific research has been completed and published, it will be presented to the advisory committee, who will then relay the findings and their recommendations to the HISA Board of Directors. In addition to Dr. Palmer, we also note the inclusion of Dr. Ted Hill, who served as a racing steward for the Jockey Club at NYS racetracks for approximately 2 decades. Previous to his service as steward, Dr. Hill served as chief veterinarian for NYRA. And finally, I want to announce that the Saratoga Hospital has scheduled a dedication and ribbon cutting ceremony for 11:30 a.m. July 11th to open the Saratoga Racecourse Backstretch Health Clinic. As a reminder, this new facility replaces the current medical clinic at Saratoga, which consists of a trailer that the not-for-profit Backstretch Employee Service Team launched in 2005, and with which Saratoga Hospital partnered in 2009. While the facility is constructed on an easement over state lands at Saratoga Racecourse, it would not have been built but for the contributions of John Hendrickson, the widower of Saratoga social doyen Mary Lou Whitney. I want to recognize the efforts of Mr. Hendrickson and of NYRA leadership and OGS, the Office of General Services, who worked extensively with hospital personnel to establish the appropriate footprint for the facility construction and to establish rights of access to the clinic.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Director. Do any of the commissioners have any questions to our executive director? Hearing none, thank you. New York State Racing Pari-Mutuel Wagering and Breeding Law 104.19 authorizes the Commission to promulgate rules and regulations that it deems necessary to carry out its responsibilities. In that regard, the Commission will, from time to time, promulgate rules and rule amendments pursuant to the State Administrative Procedure Act. Today, we have one rule for proposed consideration, and that I call upon Mr. Williams again.
For Commission consideration is amendment to Commission Rule 4007.5, which concerns qualifications to start. The proposed regulation would require a trainer's attending veterinarian to examine a horse within 72 hours before a race or workout to determine the horse's fitness to participate in the race or workout. A horse would be prohibited from entry into the race or workout unless such evaluation finds the subject horse is fit to either race or work. The proposed rule would require such attending veterinarian examinations to include, without limitation, a close inspection of the eyes, examination of the legs, observation of the horse at rest and while in motion. The evaluation of the horse's fitness to race or workout would be required to be reported in a manner to be directed by the Commission. Following determination that a horse is either fit to race or work, the attending veterinarian and trainer would be obligated to inform the Racing Association's veterinarian of any changes in the horse's fitness before the race day or the workout. Finally, for clarity, the term workout would also be defined. New York rules currently require a horse being examined by the Racing Association's veterinarian on race day for the express purpose of evaluating the horse's fitness to race. Adding a requirement for an examination by the attending veterinarian provides an additional safeguard by ensuring an evaluation by a veterinarian with the knowledge of a particular horse while maintaining the examination of the Racing Association's veterinarian as an additional level of review for race day. Further, adding the requirement for examinations prior to workout will implement equivalent protections for training. While staff has no reason to believe that an attending veterinarian would permit a horse under their care to race or participate in a workout if the horse was unfit, we believe it appropriate to require attending veterinarians to explicitly make such representations of fitness as a further safeguard to promote the health and safety of New York's racehorses. Staff recommends that the Commission authorize the proposal of this rulemaking.
Commissioners, any questions, any comments on the proposal of rules regarding attending the veterinarian examinations in thoroughbred racing? Hearing none, they have a motion to propose.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
is there a discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously.
If I could interrupt for just 1 second. Commissioner Crotty, had you been here? Do you have a position that you would like reflected in the record? Apparently the answer is no.
I'm sure he can ask you for that after the meeting's over.
I will certainly.
Okay. Any new and old business? No. Hearing none, I do want to make a few comments as to what I normally do at the end of the meeting, and give my fellow commissioners some idea of what I've been doing in the past few weeks since the last meeting. As you know, the legislature, at the governor's urging, has authorized the granting of a $425 million facility to NYS for the completion of the renovation of Belmont, among other things. That facility brings into focus the relationship between NYS and the state of New York now, and in particular. And the coming meet in Saratoga, after a long interlude of COVID, requires us to re-examine the relationship of all the stakeholders in NYS, including this commission. The Thoroughbred Fund, the Department of Agriculture and Tourism, the unions, the trainers, the breeders, and the backstretch workers, among others. I proposed, and I have talked to our executive director about this, to call a meeting of all the stakeholders in the future with the view to developing a comprehensive plan for the future of both Saratoga and Belmont to maximize both the facility and the future of both racetracks to the advantages of all. And I think it's important that, again, seeing what NYRA going forward, it's been a long time since we've recognized or established or examined our relationships within the state of New York, considering the considerable interaction between all, that we do that. And I will be back to our commissioners and senators with the help of the staff in terms of setting a date and an agenda for such meeting. Secondly, I want to note that our executive director has been well occupied lately as one of the negotiating representatives of the state in seeking a new compact with the Seneca Nation. His status as representative of the negotiating team comes not from his position on this commission, but as a recognized and long-standing tenure service on matters involving relations with nations. And I can only join my fellow commissioners, one, in thanking him and recognizing him for his work to the people of the state of New York, and our fervent hope that the service is quickly concluded so that he will rejoin our commission full-time and in the vital work that we perform here. We miss you, Mr. Executive Director, and want you to return home.
I appreciate
it. Thirdly, I'm heightened by the news that many of the colleges and universities that had previously entered into marketing arrangements with sports betting corporations are now negating those arrangements. This commission has repeatedly denounced those arrangements. I'm particularly grateful to Commissioner Skernick for bringing these arrangements to the attention of the commission. As I stated at our last meeting, while we have allowed third-party marketing arrangements, we will be closely monitoring all advertising to ensure they meet our standards, and we look forward, hopefully by the next meeting, to finalize our particular regulations in terms of marketing arrangements and marketing arrangements overall, and marketing arrangements in particulars with colleges and universities. I said I'm most heartened by the news the last couple of weeks, and almost all of those arrangements, which I find, and I think most of us find abhorrent, have been negated between the colleges and the sports betting groups. Fourthly, I join with many in the field and my commissioners in congratulating Gina Antonucci for being the first female trainer winner in one of the Triple Crown races. The Thoroughbred Fund, which, as you know, I'm chair, will be honoring her on September 11th at the Saratoga Racing Museum, and I wish everyone to invite all up there for what I think is a very special person, a very special day. I congratulate staff and my fellow commissioners on our work today in promoting racehorse safety. More needs to be done. And I know that the staff, along with our medical director, Dr. Palmer, are taking this very, very seriously and are working on new approaches to minimizing bad outcomes on the track and in training. And I know that they will be coming up with further suggestions in the future if warranted. I wanted to particularly congratulate our executive director and staff on their work in terms of problem gambling. I had occasion to be at least one of the sessions, and I think it's very important for all of us to be cognizant of the problem. As I've stated in the past, there is no doubt that the various gambling, particularly now sports betting and casinos, are of great benefit to the people of New York. And the tax revenues that derive thereon are really important for us. But at the same time, we would be remiss in our duties to not recognize that along with that comes the problem of certain people who have problems with their addressing their gambling addictions. I think that our executive director in particular has been out front working diligently to try and bring this problem, this addiction to the attention of all. I'm working hand in hand with casinos, and now for the first time with the Indian casino. We are at a point where people are taking this very seriously, and attention needs to be placed on it. And I think our executive director has done that, and our staff, and I congratulate them on that as well. Finally, I will only go to repeat this because nobody seems to pay attention to it. I have repeated over and over to media and to anyone who will listen that this commission is dedicated, passionately dedicated to assuring that when we give out the licenses for the licenses for the 3 new casinos, that nobody has a leg up, nobody is in front, and no particular influence is going to bear on the ultimate decision of the site selection committee and ultimately of this commission. And despite the numerous articles that are in the paper and people and rumors around or whatever, I want once again reiterate that everyone comes to this process exactly the same way. And I have great faith in our site selection committee in particular and our staff in assuring that there will be 3 licenses awarded, and excuse me, ultimately there will be a lot of disappointed entities and people, because obviously that's what happens when all the 3 are awarded. But I want everybody to leave this process, as important as it might be, with the knowledge and the understanding that this commission has conducted this process with transparency and fairness. And I can assure those who are paying the slightest bit of attention that that will be done. Again, I thank the commission staff for Herculean work in terms of advancing this process, and look forward to the next step. Thank you. Having heard all of that, I guess I will take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.